What's going on, people? Well, welcome to Man Knows Football. You are here with Guni and Dan from the Wolves Fancast. All of the details will be down there in the description, all clickable links. Excellent channel, especially for you Wolves fans out there. Dan is from Wolves, born and bred, and is a proper fan. Has been going to games for I don't know how long. Do you know what? I'm gonna let Dan just introduce himself a little bit to the channel. Why am I doing it? Dan's right there, man. Thank you for joining us, Dan. Just give us
No,
a
it's
little
good.
brief on yourself, man.
Too long for my own good. As you said, born and raised in Wolves. Been a season ticket holder 28 years now. As I just said, I've supported Wolves too long, but there's only one team for me. At Wolves
Abs-
Fancast, follow us there on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube channel, Facebook. We're everywhere at Wolves Fancast.
Absolutely. Like I said, clickable links down there. Make sure you support my brother. But 'tis the season to be jolly, Dan. You've got the Christmas tree right there behind you, but there
We're
really should be.
reflexing.
Yeah, man, there should be one behind me because December has been gift season for Chelsea. Our form has been absolutely terrible, my guy. We've got one loss, two draws, and two wins in December. We are 4 points off City at the top and three behind Liverpool. And as you know better than most people, I've been giving it all this in the Waves group chat saying that this is our year to be winning the title and that. And boy, has it come crashing down. It's all but done now, isn't it?
For me, it's still a three-horse race. I still think Man City are and were the team to beat this season in the league. The squad depth that Man City's got is just it's stupid. I think Liverpool have got the best 11 when everyone's fully fit, but the squad depth that Man City's got stupid. And obviously, Chelsea on the back of winning the Champions League, it's their season to make their mark in the league, but it's very difficult with the teams that are ahead of them at the moment. And as you said, stuttering a bit in the league at the moment with the defeat and the two draws.
I mean, there's been good reason for that. Our team's been absolutely decimated with injuries and most recently COVID as well. So just to let you know who's going to be out for the game tomorrow, which we're going to come on to right now, we're not going to have Ben Chilwell, no Jorginho, no Loftus-Cheek, no Kovacic. Kante's just returned from injury, so him playing tomorrow will be slightly rushed. Lukaku, Werner, and Hudson-Odoi have all tested COVID positive. So we've got a lot of key players that are out. The main one there for me is actually Ben Chilwell, because you can see how that's affected Chelsea's way of playing. Our left side is just vulnerable, which brings us on to tomorrow, Dan. How do you feel going into the game tomorrow?
Chelsea, regardless of when it was 2003 when we first came up to the Premier League to date, it's always a underdog sort of type battle. The squad that you've got, I know you've mentioned quite a few players out there, but the players that are likely to come in are still going to be making them favourites in the game. Obviously, Wolves have got Raul Jimenez coming back after his daft suspension following his red card against Man City. Wolves got the win in midweek, 1-0 away to Brighton. We lost Ryan Ait-Nouri, who's been an absolute godsend. And we discussed Ryan Ait-Nouri before he made his move permanent to Wolves. And I know you're a big fan of the left wing back. Obviously, Hwang Yi-chan pulled his hamstring. We don't know how long he's going to be out for. Daniel Podence was probably my man of the match from our game in Brighton in the midweek. I think, like myself, reminds me of when I played small, low centre of gravity, an absolute baller. But he just needs that consistent run of playing games for me. Daniel Podence, he's never really had it at Wolves. So I think he had COVID at one point. He's had little soft injuries that have kept him from getting a continuous run of games. Francisco Trinquet joined us on loan from Barcelona in the summer. He hasn't really kicked on, but I think Wolves are still only a handful of teams that Thomas Tuchel hasn't got the win over yet. So I'm hoping we can stutter you guys again tomorrow.
Yeah, and we're away actually at the Molineux, and it's like I said, we've been dropping points at places where I feel we should have been getting the 3 points. I mean, our last game against Everton, we basically lost against their youth academy, and it's you've mentioned a few names there. Podence definitely being one of them. I'm a big fan of his, and it's like you were saying, it's just the fact that he hasn't had a consistent run in that Wolves side, but I think he's a very good player, very tricky, skillful player. There's quite a few players in your squad that I'm worried about, man, that could take advantage of us on that left side, because Marcos Alonso is not the fastest, and defensive wise he's liable to a mistake or two, man. But can you see yourselves actually going at it? So playing a high line, or do you feel that you're gonna do what the other teams do and sort of sit back and just wait for counter attack opportunities and try and snatch the game?
I don't think the way you're sort of implying we're not a park the bus team like we would have like we
No,
did
absolutely,
similarly to
absolutely.
Man City and Liverpool. We did to a degree, and I've said this before, and a lot of Wolves fans had the disagreement with after our performance at Man City. But there was quite a few Wolves fans who wanted us to be a bit braver and try and attack Man City a lot more during the 90 minutes. But I think you see by the way Leeds played against them in the week, if you try and go toe to toe with Man City, you get panned embarrassingly. And I just think the way that Wolves set up, we are solid defensively at the moment. Max Kilman has to be pushing for an England debut from my point of view. Him and Ben White, I think, have been unlucky not to get in the England squad in the last couple of incidences. Keeping, I think Tyrone Mings has kept them out really. There'll be a few football fans across the would think Conor Cody might be still lucky to get in the England squad, but I think it's not just his playing ability; it's his professionalism that keeps standards high within the way that we've defended. I think there's only sort of Man City, Chelsea, and maybe Liverpool, and I think maybe Brighton who've conceded Wolves this season. So defensively, we're solid as a rock at the moment, and just trying to get ourselves on the front foot. You mentioned Marcos Alonso being suspended there. Sorry, and Chilwell being out. So Marcos Alonso is likely to be the left wing back. I want to see Adama running at him all game because, like you said, he is a liability defensively at times.
And that's my concern. And you do have the attackers that can get in behind and cause damage, bro. And it's that left side that I'm very, very concerned about. And hopefully for Chelsea, we will see N'Golo Kante in that midfield. So hopefully he can do what he can to help out that left side. Hopefully that will remedy it a little bit. But still, it's gonna be a lot for us to deal with. And quite frankly, I am not super confident going into this game.
I think Jorginho is a massive loss for you if he's definitely out, because the way he sort of controls the tempo from your midfield, that's going to, from my point of view, allow Ruben Neves to control the tempo of the game. Hopefully, from my point of view, the midfield is going to be key. Midfield's usually where most games are won, aren't they? So you got who's like to be in midfield for you guys? Kante and Kovacic is due back.
Kovacic, I doubt he's gonna start tomorrow. It's most likely gonna be Ross Barkley, bro. I think because the manager definitely not gonna trust Saul, because every opportunity that Saul's had, he's just massively underwhelmed. He's actually a candidate for possibly the worst loan signing anyway for Chelsea Football Club. He has been terrible, so I don't think he'll be an option.
I'm not one for putting our players in the shop window, but the money that you spent on Sol when you could have spent less money and getting Neves, I think Chelsea and Man United have missed a trick not getting Neves this summer when it was reportedly being touted that he was being offered around clubs.
Well, I mean, Chelsea, we had the player right there in the youth academy, but with that, it's a bit of an unknown element, because now in the fan base is starting to see, well, we should have kept Conor Gallagher. And look how well he's playing for Palace. But this is the thing with youth players like that. This is his debut season. Nobody knew that his development curve was going to hit that level.
Yeah,
he's gone to a club where the managers put faith in him, and people don't realize it's quite rare for a club to take a lone player that they're not guaranteed to sign permanently at the end of it and make him that focal point of the team that everyone play around. So that's a bit of an exceptional kind of situation, in my opinion.
No one foreseeing how well Crystal Palace were going to play under Vieira this season. I think most people in the footballing community would have had Vieira to be out of his job by Christmas on the back of his stints at New York and Nice, was it?
Was it Nice? Yes, it was Nice. It was Nice. You're right. It was Nice. But to be fair, at Nice, they messed him about a little bit, the hierarchy there. But I know absolutely, Dan. Patrick Vieira did surprise me, because at Nice he looked a bit more defensive than he has been at Crystal Palace, and I thought he was just going to replicate that. But he looks like he's just had the shackles taken off him and just been trusted to play the football that he wants to play. And now we're starting to see the fruits at Crystal Palace. But going back onto Wolves, obviously Bruno Lage is your new man since Nuno left. How are you feeling about him so far?
Massive fan for what he's doing at the club at the moment, considering the shackles that he's had put on him. He was in the media regularly during the summer transfer window where he demanded 4 signings from the board and he only got one, which was Hwang Yi-chan, who our recruitment team have been trying to push on to Nuno and obviously now Bruno for the last 2 years, and we finally got him over the line. Loan to a permanent transfers being rumoured to be completed in January, maybe the end of the season. But you look at sort of the first few games under Bruno, we looked a completely different team than the negative football that Nuno had us playing in the last 18 months. I think Nuno had sort of become stale with the squad that he had and was just heavily reliant on the defence being sound, the shape being correct throughout the 90 minutes. But I don't think Nuno ever really had an attacking element to his coaching where he knew how to break teams down that Wolves were expected to be. I think because he was a goalkeeper in his playing career, he could see what was happening in front of him from a defensive point of view, but he never really had that mindset to break teams down. That's what cost us in the end getting Champions League or the Europa spaces in the season where lockdown did occur, because I think going into the last sort of 5 or 6 games, we were pushing Chelsea for top 4. And in the end, I think we finished 8th on the last day, where Chelsea beat us 2-0 the last day with goals from Mason Mount and Giroud.
So obviously with this game, if you do actually get 3 points, it does look good for your chances going into Europe. I mean, it's still very early into the season. There's a lot of games to be played. Currently, you are sitting. I had the league table here. Currently, you are sitting 8th in the table, 17 games played. Depending on other results, 3 points could take you up to 7th, but equal on points with, well, Manchester United. You've got a game on hand on them, but you'll still be, my point is, you'll be in and around like the Europa zones. And is that something that you're realistically targeting this year?
It wasn't for me at the start of the season on the back of a new regime change. It's difficult to have strong expectations when the recruitment seems to change from recruitment expectations seems to change from window to window. In the summer, we're being linked to Renato Sanchez on loan on the last day of the window, and then from rumours, what we're gathering from local sources at the moment, it looks like we may not make any acquisitions in January. So December for me was just try and get as many points as we can, because we have had a difficult month. We had Liverpool, Man City. Obviously, we've got Chelsea, and we've got Arsenal away in a couple of weeks, and then followed up by Manchester United, our first game in January. So all the fixtures leading up to December was try and get as many points as we can, and to be sitting in 8th place, I'm more than happy, because I thought this season was going to be a lot more difficult than what we've made it so far.
No, fair enough. And I think with time, you're going to see improvements in your squad under Bruno Lage. So tomorrow's game, if it does go ahead, because we have had a few cancellations in the Premier League due to this with this COVID situation. Obviously, health has to take precedent over anything else. So as we speak right now, there is actually no guarantee that this game will go ahead. I hope they don't postpone football. I hope they do find a solution for these cases. Or if they do have to stop the Prem, it's going to be for a short period of time, and we don't have to wait a couple of months to see it again, because honestly, going through without football for the next few months is just going to be long, mate. Nobody's looking forward to that. But hypothetically, the game goes on tomorrow as normal. I'd like to, since you're the home team, I'd like to hear your lineup. Go with the lineup that you think Bruno Lage is going to go with against us.
I think it'll be similar to what finished the game away to Brighton on Wednesday, but I think obviously Raul Jimenez will come back in my opinion, hopefully for Francisco Trincao. I think Raul will obviously lead the line centrally with Podence on the left and Adama on the right. Our midfield, as I said, mentioned him earlier, I still think he's one of the most underrated players in Europe at the moment, Ruben Neves. Either side of him will be either João Moutinho or Dendoncker. Myself, I'd probably go with Dendoncker, as he gives us a bit more physicality in the midfield. But if Nuno wants to make a good go of this game, I think he should start with João Moutinho, because I think Neves and Moutinho, hopefully, without Chelsea having Jorginho, I'd hope for us to put a bit more emphasis on us controlling the tempo instead of being held captive in our own half and just hoping for counter attacks. Our defence is pretty much as it started against Brighton after Ryan Aitnoy got injured in the warm up. So left back Marcel, left centre back Romain Saiss, who's off to the African Cup of Nations in January, which will be a massive blow for us. Connor Cody centre back, and then on the right, Max Kilman and Nelson Semedo, followed in the sticks by our Olympiacos signing in the summer, Jose Sarr, who has absolutely been, I keep mentioning godsends, but he's been an absolute upgrade on Rui Patricio, and I don't think there were many Wolves fans that were of that mindset that was possible.
Yeah, Patricio was a good goalkeeper for you, but this geezer looks like he's been doing all right so far. Long may it continue for you guys. But that lineup that you just listed up, I ain't gonna lie to you, bruv. It just like sent chills down my spine. That front, that attack, that midfield, and just basically in terms of my team selection, I just basically have anyone who's got two legs and can run around for 90 minutes, bro. That's who I'm picking. That's what I'm restricted to. But it's going to be Mendy in goal, Rudiger Christensen, and Trevor Chalobah as the centre-back trio. I don't think Thiago Silva is going to play. He already played midweek. He's 37 years old, so we've got to manage him a lot different to the younger players. So I imagine he'll be taking a rest. I won't be happy if I see him start because that's a player that we're going to need throughout the season. So I hope we don't see him start this game. Wing backs, obviously Marcos Alonso. I ain't really got much of a choice over there. Reece James on that right side, who has been absolutely key for us. Missed what I think was a goal scoring opportunity against Everton, made the wrong decision to go near post rather than far post, but he's a right wing back. He's not a striker. You expect these things to happen, but he's definitely someone that can make things happen. Them infield runs as well. It's very difficult to pick him up. So hopefully we can see some more of those. In that midfield, N'Golo Kante, I don't want to start him because I feel like we're rushing him back way too prematurely, and I don't want another setback with Kante, because if we're going to finish in any sort of respectable position or even perhaps still challenge for major silverware, Kante's got to remain fit for the rest of the season. So I think throwing him in there is just the fact that we ain't got enough numbers to deal with the situation. Partnering him is going to be Ross Barkley. It's because, like I said to you before, Saul, nobody trusts him. I think you could pick anybody from the flipping stands to play there over Saul and they'd do a better job. He's been that bad. So it's going to be Kante.
Where do you think he's fallen short this season, Saul? Is he just same as Trinquet, where he hasn't really acclimatized to the pace of the game? Or
well, it's that. I mean, it's numerous things. You're right in saying that, because mentally the game just passes him by. It's just a different pace from La Liga altogether, and I think that was a bit of a shock to him. Also the physicality as well. He's very slow in releasing the ball and making decisions. He's missing the basics. Like, for example, knowing what to do before receiving the ball, knowing where your guys are. Do you know what I mean? Knowing when to make runs, knowing when to drop back and stop the counter attack. It's just like he's limited in all these things and the game just passes him by. Or when he does get the ball, he's just making wrong decisions, or he's just making too many safe decisions. He's not really doing anything to stand out at all. And I just feel like he's having a horrible time. I don't know whether it's because some of these players, they don't like the weather, the cold affects them. They don't like the environment, or they just struggle to come to terms with tactics. I don't know what it is, but he just needs to pack his shit and go back to Madrid. It's just that simple.
How many sort of, he's Spanish, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
How many other Spanish players? Obviously, you got Kepa,
Azpilicueta, Marcos Alonso. And I think that's it, if my memory's correct. Yeah, I think that's it.
It isn't as if he hasn't got like the people around him that should be helping him adapt to the culture that he's joined from Spain. He obviously is a top class midfielder, because obviously he wouldn't have been key for Atletico Madrid for as many years as he was, but similar to like Trinquet, it just seems unwilling to accept the levels of physicality in the Premier League. The game just passed them by from a pace point of view, but hopefully it comes good. But it could be the money.
That ship has sailed as well. And the thing is if Samuel was 19, 20, right, it's a different story. Then you have to give him that patience because he's a young player. I don't have as much patience for the seniors. Like these are the ones that should be leading our young squad and be setting
Yeah.
the example, not the other way around. As good as it is to see Mason Mount picking up responsibility and getting the clutch goals, and Reece James doing the same, and Trevor and all these guys putting in clutch performances, really and truly, it's supposed to be the seniors that are getting the majority of that.
Yeah. Whereas this season, the likes of Reece James, obviously Trevor Chalobah's, they're both in my fantasy team, which is quite haunting for me tomorrow because I want them both to keep clean sheets. But at the end of the day, I hope Wolves win by more than, well, I'll take 1-0 right now. But them two this season for me have been solid for me fantasy league wise. And
Yeah.
I think Reece James and Trent Alexander, I don't think there's a better right back pairing for an international team in the world at the moment.
No, absolutely. And just to finish off my lineup, the front three will be Hakim Ziyech, hopefully on the right this time. I don't want to see him on the left. I like him better cutting in on the right. And he looks, when he stays out wide, he looks a lot more comfortable there, isolating his fullback or whoever it may be one-on-one and trying to beat him. I don't like him coming into the field too much, man. That's where I think he's a very lightweight player. You know what I'm saying? Like, so when it comes to the physical side of things, he's too easily knocked off the ball, pushed off the ball. Can be good sometimes for conceding free kicks, but like when you need end product and output, it can be frustrating.
What is the situation with Ziyech? Because every time I look on Twitter every other day, he's being linked to moves to like AC Milan and other places.
He's not. I mean, considering the amount of time that he's been there, I mean, granted, Ziyech has had quite a few injuries and he hasn't had a consistent run, but it's a funny case with him because there's been a few times where he's had like several runs of games and he's looked decent. Then he'll get injured. Then he'll come back and he'll have 3-4 games where he just absolutely looks like dog shit, and you just want him out the door. But I mean, I'm at the point where look, he's 27, 28 years old. We signed him for around 40. I think it was around 40 million or something like that. If we could get a resale value in and around that price, possibly more. With Marina, you never know. That woman can sell salt to a slug. So if we could get a profit on that, I say we get rid and sell, and we just invest in somebody younger. Because in terms of squad depth, Ziyech really isn't it when you look at the likes of Liverpool and Man City compared to what they got or what they're working with in Liverpool's terms, where their front main guys are just not getting injured. They're just staying injury free and they're just going through the season and just being relentless with it.
Ziyech, so who's likely to be your focal point tomorrow? Havertz.
Kai Havertz, yeah. I think Havertz is fit. He doesn't have COVID. He sat out the last game because he had a niggle from, I believe it was, I want to say it was Watford, where he went over the stand. Or something along them lines, or a hamstring injury, one of the two. But I know he's back, he's fit. And compared to Pulisic playing the false nine against Everton, it just wasn't working out for Pulisic. I didn't like how they were trying to involve him in the game. I mean, the man's 5'10". Everton's back line is like a minimum of like 6'2", 6'3", aerially dominant, and we're playing high balls into the air, hoping he wins a header and puts it in the net like Lukaku. But the ironic thing is, Dan, is when Lukaku's on the field, we're not putting enough of them balls in there like that. We're playing it to feet, so it's a bit backwards there. But Kai Havertz, our attackers looked a lot more fluid with him in it. He divides opinion, Kai Havertz, because you've got the output junkies who want to see goals and assists galore, but they don't appreciate what he does in terms of how he draws out defenders, because he's a very difficult player to pick out. His late runs in the box, sometimes he makes them. I know he's not as clinical as he should be, but once he does, we've got to start seeing a player there.
God, you said like you're talking about Adama Traore there in regards to like fans asking for more output, but what Adama brings to our team is
priceless.
There isn't a player in the world like Adama Traore for me. Maybe Kylian Mbappe for having the pace and acceleration to beat 4 or 5 players with ease. But the fact that Wolves have predominantly had 2 centre midfielders in Neves and Moutinho who aren't box-to-box midfielder who can get into the box late. Adama always struggles because 99% of the time it's crossing to 2 people in the box, which is usually Jimenez and either Podence or Trincao, who aren't, as I mentioned before, they're not a Timo Werner, Marcus Rashford type wide man who can play central, who instinctively know how to take chances. They're creative players. So anytime Adama actually puts a ball in a good area for him, them not they're not where they should be because they've got the wide man mentality instead of
Yeah,
being
that's
in the
it.
6 yard box or by the penalty spot in between the posts, ready to tap it in.
No, that's it. And it's quite similar with Kai Havertz. Well, I feel sorry for him in terms of he wasn't signed as a striker, nor is he as a striker. At most, at best, he's a second striker. He's doing his false nine role so well because he's got a good understanding of that number 10 position and he knows how to get into the box and get goals as well and to involve other players. But he's just not hitting those numbers, them elite numbers, and he's being judged on that. And bear in mind, the guy's what, 21, 22 years old? No older than 23 anyway. So he's got time. But give me your score prediction for the game, Dan.
I'll go for a 1-1. I just think that we do usually give Chelsea quite a competitive game, whether it's at Molineux or Stamford Bridge. Apart from that one time where you beat us 5-2 at Molineux, that was just one of those where everything went in the back of the net. We made Tammy Abraham look like R9 in that game.
Do you remember Tomori's goal as well? Was that the day?
Yeah. I don't know. We talk about how good Patricia was. He looked like a kid in goal with how Tomori sat him on his arse that day. It was just one of them games where we tried to be competitive, but we were nowhere near the races that day.
I'll tell you right now, Dan. Yeah, you see that goal in my head. I knew immediately if Tomori hit that another 99 times, it's not going in. It was just that one time where it happened.
At least one of those 99s hit the corner flag. It was just one of them, wasn't it?
Yeah,
the wind took it, and Patricia was just stuck in the mud.
Yeah, and and I know it sounds silly to some, but when things like that start happening against your team, you already know what time it is. You're just like, oh yeah, here we go. At least I do anyway. But But Dan, definitely, man. Thank you for joining us. We're coming up to the 30-minute mark, actually. Very, very good discussion that we had here. Dan is actually one of the group chat members in Waves where it just goes off in there. Like, if your team loses in that group chat, just don't even bother opening it. It's just
it ain't even if you lose. If your team concedes,
it's
God's plan MP3 appears in the chat. If God's plan appears in the WhatsApp group, there's been a goal scored. It's the most. Forget about Soccer Saturday. If God's plan MP3 appears in that flipping group chat, the goals happen. It's usually your team that have conceded. Yeah,
anytime like I open my WhatsApp and I know Chelsea have conceded, if I see that little music logo, I just know what time it is. I know what's going on in there, man. It goes off in there. But Dan, definitely Wolves Fancast. Obviously, his name's the tag, but his links are going to be down there in the clickable description. All social medias will be down there. So support my brother Dan. Like I said, a proper Wolves fan, has been a season ticket holder for God knows how long. And look no further for a more authentic fan. But yeah, Dan, thank you very much for joining us on the channel. Hopefully, definitely, we will see you a lot more on this channel. At the minute, things are a bit up and down for me because I'm in the process of moving out to another apartment. So my recording schedule has just been off. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not really trying to commit to anything right now. I'm just recording when I've got a few spare minutes to record. You get me? So appreciate you joining me. To everybody that's watching, please make sure you do like, share, subscribe. We're on the road to 4,000 subscribers. Help me get there. So far, you've done a fantastic job and you lot will always be appreciated. But wherever you are, whatever you're doing, make sure you do stay safe, especially in these dangerous times. Dan, once again, thank you for joining us. Everybody, bless.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, man. Merry Christmas as well. I forgot about that. There's a Christmas tree right there. Where's my listen? Yeah, that's how you know I'm not having the best Christmas period, bro. Having to move out, having to go through all these Chelsea results. It don't feel like Christmas. Hopefully we could get 3 points tomorrow. It'll make me feel a little bit better. You get me?
Hopefully not. Because that group chat is going to be a ghost town for one of us tomorrow. I think.
It's going to be chaos, and I don't have a good. I didn't give my prediction, did I?
No, let's hear it. What's your score prediction?
I'm actually going to agree with you, Dan. I'm going to go with 1-1, and realistically, that's me hoping for the best, bro. Because from what I've seen in the past 5 games, it's just not looked good. I wouldn't be surprised if he came away 3 points, put it that way. But I'm going to say 1-1. You get me? But on that
hopefully we can get back to living in a normal world. But the only thing that's normal in the world right now is Arsenal are 4th.
Yeah.
God bless everyone.
Yeah.